You're looking at a live shot from downtown Victoria, where final preparations are underway ahead of today's Remembrance Day ceremony. It is brisk but beautiful in the capital. A strong crowd starting to gather as people make their way to local cenotaphs right across the island and the province to honor and pay respects to so many who have served and continue to serve, defending the values and freedoms that we will never take for granted. Canadians coast to coast taking a moment to pause and reflect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Hello and welcome to our special Remembrance Day coverage on CHEK. My name is Paul Haysom. It is both an honor and a privilege to be part of today's program again. We will have full uninterrupted coverage from the ceremony in Victoria, which is set to begin just before 11. We also have some very special guests in studio who we will meet in just a moment. But first, we wanted to show you the ceremony this morning from the National War Memorial in Ottawa. Veterans, family members, politicians, and the public gathering in the nation's capital for a powerful ceremony. This marks the first Remembrance Day ceremony for Mark Carney as Prime Minister. It also marks the 25th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. This year's National Silver Cross Mother, Nancy Payne, representing all families who have lost sons and daughters to war. Her son, Corporal Randy Joseph Payne, died while serving in Afghanistan. May he rest in peace. We have two very special guests joining us in studio today who will be helping us guide us through the next hour. Retired Chief Petty Officer, Second Class with the Royal Canadian Navy, John Haggis, joined the Navy in 1987 and has 2,243 days of sea time, correct?
Correct.
Thank you for your service. Thank you very much for joining us. Also involved with the Commissionaires, and we have retired Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Johnson coming back, a former commanding officer with the Canadian Scottish Regiment, completing more than 25 years of regular and reserve military service. Thank you very much for your service, Lawrence.
Pleasure being here.
And I know last year I asked you about the hat. I want to make sure I get it right. The Glengarry, correct?
It's the Glengarry.
It is the Glengarry. Well, it looks fantastic. You both look fantastic. I'm interested, John, who are you thinking of today on this Remembrance Day?
Well, I think primarily I think about my immediate family. You know, my father served in World War II, Battle of the Atlantic. My father-in-law, who I never met, but I read his military file, and he landed in France, went through Belgium, Holland, into Germany, back to Holland. And I think of my uncles, Frank Harvey and Charlie Ingram, with two belly buttons.
Oh, yeah.
One God gave him, the other was
man-made
from a bullet wound. And I think of the people that I serve with and that are serving today.
Wow. Lawrence, we might have just lost your microphone. It might have just fallen down there. So I don't know if you're able to fix that microphone. But Lawrence, what does Remembrance Day mean to you? We'll see if we can hear this here.
Yeah, well, first off, my father.
Yeah.
He served in the First World War. He was just a young man at the time, and he enlisted, and he served on the Western Front. And then after the war, I suppose because he was single and very young, having joined at age 18, he was in the Army of Occupation in both Greece and Turkey.
Wow.
He had lots of great war stories.
I bet. Now we have some pictures of when you were serving, John, some old pictures from when you were serving back in the day, some not so old. I mean, you look like a stunning young man. Let's take a look at one of the pictures from, okay, so tell us about this picture. Where are we here, John?
I think we're, that is taken in the Caribbean, actually.
Wow.
I do think so. I'm on the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Bear there, and that's the Athabascan in the background. We're doing an exercise with the U.S. Coast Guard, and it was a sunny day, and I had my Tilly on that was issued to all of us when we served in the Gulf.
Yeah.
So
that's a great shot.
Yeah.
And actually, we have a cool shot from, I believe it's you, so this is more recent, but still a stunning shot. We also have a great shot from you and your father, I think.
That's right. I wanted to make a point of my last Remembrance Day in uniform. That's 2016, and that's my father with the Atlantic Star group of medals, and we're at the Belleville Legion in November the 11th, 2016, and A friend of mine took that picture, and it's on my mantle, and it's a cherished photo.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
photo. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And that's your father as well, isn't it?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Wow.
He joined at 17, and you know, anytime they stepped out of Halifax Harbor, they were susceptible to attack by the German U-boats.
Wow.
And you know, and they had two enemies. That was the German U-boats and the sea.
Wow.
And somehow he got through it all.
Wow. Wow, that is just incredible. And Lawrence, I know we have a picture, not from you serving, but from your great uncle, but it may as well be you. It's a spitting image. If we can pull up that photo, guys. Tell us about this photo, Lawrence.
Well, that's my great uncle, Mert Plunkett. He was with the IMCA at the beginning of the First World War, and the Army enlisted him. He was given the honorary rank of captain and assigned to the 3rd Division, Canadian Expeditionary Force. And he created the entertainment group called the Dumbbells.
Wow.
And this was frontline entertainment. They were being shelled, etc. There was no women, of course, right at the front, so they had to use, some of the guys had to get dressed up in drag in order to fill the female parts. But they put on theater performances.
And you were saying the only way that people can tell it's not you is that First World War uniform,
It's a First
correct?
World War uniform.
Wow,
Right, yeah.
just stunning stuff. Okay, we're going to have more from John and Lawrence in just a moment. But first, we do want to go down to the Cenotaph in Victoria, where Mackenzie Reid is standing by with another special guest. Mackenzie.
Officer First Class Stephen Donegan.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much. I am joined here with Edwin A.D., who served in the Korean War. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about what Remembrance Day means to you?
Well, it means remembering all of our friends and other soldiers and whatnot that simply haven't made it, haven't been able to come home. And so I come out every year when we honor them and come here on the 11th of November.
There's quite a large crowd already down here right now.
Yes.
What does it mean to you to be here and to see this crowd here as well?
Well, this is excellent, and the crowds seem to be getting bigger and bigger each year. That's just wonderful that people are actually remembering and want to honor those who have not been able to come home.
Why is it so important to remember?
Well, because we were all young men in those days, and their futures were simply taken away from them because of it. But they felt that we had to go out and do something to maintain our freedom and our way of life and whatnot. So, yeah.
Is there any quick messages you would like to give to the people here today or the people watching?
Just that don't forget the members of the armed forces who have gone out and given their all. Some of us, many of us, of course, have been able to come home, but there are also many who have not been able to come home. Families have been broken because of it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank everybody watching for participating in this Remembrance Day ceremony, whether at home or here in person at the Cenotaph. I will give it back to you, Paul, because I know that you've got lots coming up.
Yeah, thank you very much for your service there, sir, as well. Just fantastic stuff and really important stuff as we are joined back in studio here. And we met Jerry Pash, very well known around town yesterday at the Cenotaph, and he was sharing that it's been 100 years since the Cenotaph was put there at the BC Legislature grounds. And just the stories that Victoria has, the rich, rich military history, but history within all the armed forces. John.
Well, anytime I'm downtown, I always take those moments. You know, I'll go by myself and look up at that structure and what it means, and the same feeling I get when I'm in Ottawa.
Wow.
And you think about what's behind that, and you look at the names on it, and the different years, and it means a lot, and it's the center of the city as it should be.
Yeah, it was all fundraising, and it's amazing you say that. It's the same feeling you get in Ottawa because the people who designed it, the designers of that actually did design the National War Memorial in Ottawa as well. And Lawrence, I mean, just talk about, because we do have such a rich history, not just in Victoria, but right across Vancouver Island.
Yes, well, particularly on the island in Victoria, of course, we have General Currie.
Yeah.
He was the Canadian Corps commander in the First World War, and he started off here in Victoria. And on December the 6th, well, 5th and 6th, they're celebrating his 150th birthday. There's going to be an open house at the Bay Street Armory on the Friday.
Wow.
With various exhibits. They're going to cut a birthday cake.
Wow.
He started off as the commanding officer of the 5th Field Regiment, Artillery.
Wow.
And then when the Caledonian Society desired to create a kilted regiment in the city, they had him come over and he became the first commanding officer of the Canadian, well, at that time it was the Gordon Highlanders.
Right.
That became the Canadian Scottish in the full time. So
Wow.
you talk about Canadian military history, right here, there is a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot. And I always remembered that 450 students from Vic High served in the First World War. 53 of them never made it home. So the ultimate sacrifice, so many here on the island. Now, of course, there's a number of ceremonies at cenotaphs up and down Vancouver Island today. Sky Ryan is in Nanaimo this morning to tee up a ceremony in the Harbour City.
Thanks, Paul. We are here at the Nanaimo Cenotaph ahead of today's Remembrance Day ceremonies with the president of Branch 256 for the Royal Canadian Legion, George Molnar. George, we're already seeing a lot of people turning out, which warms my heart tremendously. How does it feel to you?
And it's just quiet right now, but this will fill right up because our poppy campaign that's still running and ends today. I mean, we've had 800 members at our own branch. I mean, we had tremendous support throughout the community right now. Our own branch, we've raised over $40,000 for the veterans so far this year.
Is that different from previous years?
I believe so, because right now, how close are we to, trouble around the world with the Americans, changing the game, the rules of the game and that. So it's very different for us right now, and we all feel it because we're Canadians. We're not Americans, and we believe in our country and our soldiers and our
freedom.
Sovereign, and definitely our freedom.
And as we talk, Paul, I'm seeing veterans walking around of various ages, some with PTSD support dogs. What does that Poppy Fund money go towards? It's a donation. I don't like to hear people say that it's a sale because they'll get emails about that, but it genuinely speaks to supporting people when they come home from whatever crisis it may be that they've been to.
Well, the Veteran Support Program and Transition Program, we help veterans transition to society. And of course, PTSD is one of our, if they come home. And we raise funds for them, the Cockrell House, or the Legion House or Manor. All the funds raised through poppy season is for veterans, our RCMP family, of course, active Canadian soldiers, and their families.
George, I appreciate that effort so much, and I'm seeing all of these men and women out here of various ages, some very, very small. Would you like to speak to the people that are at home, maybe those veterans that you and I both know are afraid to come out? They have anxiety, they have PTSD. Do you want to just look into that camera and speak to them?
It's, it's hard to understand what a lot of them are going through. But to imagine, I mean, I had a stepson do 3 tours in Afghanistan, and he lost his good friend there. So it's difficult. And we're here for support of them throughout the world and to come home safely. And the families are all affected too, and I thank you for being there and standing by the veterans that do come home. And those are on active duty right now.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of them at home. We'll turn it back to you, Paul, and wish you well today.
Thank you, Sky, and thank you, George. Very powerful words there as we are looking at a live shot from the cenotaph in Victoria. That ceremony about to get underway just before 11 a.m. We will bring it to you full in its entirety. We have retired Chief Petty Officer John Haggis and retired Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Johnson in studio with us today, and I'm interested just listening to some of the words from George. And John, let's start with you. I mean, has the meaning of Remembrance Day evolved for you over the years?
I think it's become more clear.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, that it is about the courage and the sacrifice that so many made, and especially the greatest generation of World War II.
Yeah.
What they did, as many of them joining as teenagers, like my father, have shaped the Canada that we're living in today. And that's become more clear to me all the time, especially with what's happening in the world today.
Yeah.
And it's those people that stepped up that made such a difference to our life today.
So beautifully said. Yeah, we're so proud to call ourselves Canadian, and it's thanks to those men and women who made that happen. Lawrence, what about you? Has it evolved, and the meaning of Remembrance Day over the years?
Well, certainly. It's been amazing how, you know, we call it a tradition, I suppose, but it seems to be better attended every year.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And of course, there's the program on the schools. Veterans go and give talks to the children, and then take them to the various cemeteries, and they place a stone. Each of them has to do a little thesis or
Wow.
some words, an essay on this particular veteran or soldier that's now there, and they place a stone on that veteran's tomb, on his cenotaph.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It is just so powerful and so very important. And I always love seeing the families there, but the young children there as well, who will continue on this tradition and make sure that they pay their respects every single year, not just on Remembrance Day, but every single day. We're going to take a very short break, our only commercial break of this coverage, but we do want to show you another live shot from the cenotaph in Victoria as people make their way to cenotaphs right across the province. Many Canadian service members are fighting for our freedoms away from home right now, and we asked some members of HMCS Ottawa, HMCS Max Bernays, and HMCS Ville de Quebec to share what Remembrance Day means to them.
Hello everyone, I'm Lieutenant Navy Andrew Lamb from the Royal Canadian Navy, speaking to you from on board HMCS Max Bernays, currently deployed on Operation Horizon in the North Pacific Ocean. During Veterans Week, and especially on Remembrance Day, we honor all who have served, past and present. Whether at home or deployed abroad, we pause to reflect on their courage and freedoms they've defended, lest we forget.
Lieutenant Navy Kyle Brown, currently deployed on HMCS Max Bernays, and today remember all those who served Canada, past and present.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Timmons. I'm a bridge watchkeeper deployed on HMCS Max Bernays. Today, we remember all those who served Canada, past and present, lest we forget.
I'm Petty Officer Joseph Chisholm.
And I'm Petty Officer Craig Smith. We are on HMCS Ville de Quebec on Operation Horizon, lest we forget.
We take care of you every step of the way, so you can enjoy a moment for yourself. So you can slow down and leave the rest to us. Experience the difference with Helijet.
For over 75 years, TB Vets has been a lifeline for those struggling to breathe. Born from the legacy of World War II veterans, we've grown into a vital foundation supporting respiratory care across British Columbia. Every year, we equip hospitals with essential respiratory equipment, but we can't do it alone. Your support means more lives saved. Purchase a key tag today and help someone breathe easier.
For a century, Commissionaire Security Services has adhered to a mandate to provide meaningful employment to our veterans and their families. Our organization was built for them and by them as we serve customers in a range of sectors. Across Vancouver Island, our skilled people and advanced technology solutions bring protection and peace of mind to all our clients. This Remembrance Day and every day, we honor and thank all those who served our country.
For over 75 years, TB Vets has been a lifeline for those struggling to breathe. Born from the legacy of World War II veterans, we've grown into a vital foundation supporting respiratory care across British Columbia. Every year, we equip hospitals with essential respiratory equipment, but we can't do it alone. Your support means more lives saved. Purchase a key tag today and help someone breathe easier.
Hi, I'm Master Sailor Black, supply technician at Port HMCS Ottawa. This Remembrance Day, I'll be thinking of all the CAF members currently employed and away from their families, especially my brother, Petty Officer Black, in Japan.
Hello everybody, I'm Sailor First Class Liam Carr from the Royal Canadian Navy, speaking to you from aboard His Majesty's Canadian ship, Max Bernays, currently deployed on Operation Horizon in the North Pacific Ocean. Remembrance Day is a day where we take a moment to think about everyone who sacrificed everything for the country that we love. While at sea, we carry their memories in service, gratitude, and pride, lest we forget.
Lest we forget, indeed. Thank you to all the men and women serving this country right now, and welcome back to our special Remembrance Day coverage here on CHEK. You're looking at a live shot from the Cenotaph in Victoria, where we will bring you uninterrupted coverage once that service begins in moments. We are joined in studio by retired Chief Petty Officer John Haggis and retired Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Johnson. And just looking at those pictures, I'm blown away with the crowd there. I think it's so very important, and so many people obviously feel the same. John, what are you going to be watching for today?
Well, you know, those comments by the serving members, sure brings me home.
I bet that does, yeah.
And I think that's what I'm looking for today. And of course, the crowd and the atmosphere of gratitude and the solemn silence when we come to that moment, and that brings it home to me.
Yeah, so much respect for so much that has happened. And Lawrence, how about you?
Well, I've always find it comforting watching these ceremonies. You know, there's strict protocol. There's nothing. Someone might say it's boring because, well, there's nothing new here. But that's the comforting thing about it, that the remembrance is without any different, that's going to cause controversy, that it is what it is, and we're here to remember.
Yeah, we are here to remember for sure. And just in the commercial break, John, I was asking you, I know you've served in a peacekeeping mission. That was one of the major missions that you served on. But I was asking how Canadians are received, not just overseas, but maybe assimilating with other forces and other people. And you had an interesting answer there.
Well, first, I was never physically ashore for a peacekeeping mission, but my first was enforcing embargo on Iraq after the first Gulf War in '95, and then off the coast of former Yugoslavia. And we were always integrated in a NATO group, and Canadians always took the lead. And even when we weren't supposed to, we'd see things going sideways, and we'd always just step up and take charge.
Okay.
And so we were so, our interoperability was top, but we stood out ashore. That was the thing. We stood out ashore because we're Canadians.
We're Canadians. We are Canadians.
And that made a big difference.
That's so powerful. And Lawrence, we're about 30 seconds away here, but you were saying the same thing. You said we assimilate very well, right?
Yeah, I think, John, you had the right word, integrate.
Integrate.
We're very good at integrating, stepping up and integrating.
Well, yeah, you have both stepped up, and thank you very much again for your service. That service is about to get underway at the Cenotaph in Victoria. Chris Dorrington is the Master of Ceremonies again this year. He is fantastic. He will be the next voice you hear, but we take you live to the Cenotaph in Victoria.
No, I live Well, actually,
Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral David Patchell, Commander, Maritime Forces Pacific, is now arriving and will be met by Bob Russell, Executive Member of the Poppy Fund.
Color party! Okay, colors! Hey, we need a medic. We need a medic over here. We need a medic over here. Medic here, please. Medic!
Today, let us remember those who have died in the service of their country, those who we knew, those whose memory we treasure, and all who have lived and died in the service of humankind. I would ask everyone who is able to please stand for our national anthem, led today by Petty Officer Second Class Cindy Hotchuk, vocalist for the Naden Band.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
in memory of the fallen. The act of remembrance will be read today by Cadet Warrant Officer 2nd Class Natasha Lewis J. of the 89 Pacific Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron.
They shall not grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Three. Fire! Fight!
You are now welcome to join in the singing of Abide With Me. The words can be found in your leaflet. This hymn will be followed by prayer and the benediction led by Legion Padre, the Reverend Canon Andrew E. Gates. The Victoria Orion Male Choir that has led our singing here at the Cenotaph since 1929 will then sing We Shall Remember, commissioned by the choir specifically for this occasion.
Would you pray with me? I wish, oh, how I wish you could see them. They're all around us. And they stand there with their mouths wide open, as if they're trying to say something to us. Look at them.
It looks like they're shouting. And most of them are young. I've seen them often. And they never, ever seem to age. There are men in uniform, women too. Civilians, some carrying babies. Honestly, it is not a pretty sight. Fire! Fire! And they are from many races, both friends and enemies. And there are every year new ones, mostly civilians. They are dead, but they're not at rest. Look at them. I wish, oh, I wish you could see them. Have you ever heard a silent scream? For that is what it is. I can't hear what they're saying, but from the looks on their faces, from the look in their eyes, from the tears running down their cheeks, I know what they're saying, because I've heard it before. Why? Can't you hear them? Why? Whoever thought it would go this far? Why? They are not looking to have anybody else joining their ranks, and neither are we. Let you and I release them and let them have their rest. And let us be about fixing the mess that we find ourselves in, and then get on with our lives. If that's a prayer, so be it. I pray that God would be listening. I wish you could hear them. I wish that you could see them. May God bless you with discomfort at easy answers, at half-truths, at superficial relationships, so that you will live deep within your heart. May God bless you with anger at injustice, oppression, and the exploitation of people, so that you will work for justice, for equity, and peace. And may God bless you with tears to shed for those who suffer from pain, rejection, starvation, and war, so that you will reach out your hand to comfort them and change their pain to joy. And may God bless you with the foolishness to think that you can make a difference in the world, so that you will do the things which others tell you simply cannot be done. Amen.
Wreath layers will be called up in 11 different groups. The members of each group will please follow each other to the cenotaph. Movement around the cenotaph will flow from right to left, and you will lay your wreaths collectively at the same time while surrounding the cenotaph. This will be done on my mark when you are all in position. Please lay your wreaths as close together as possible. You will then turn to your right and continue to circle the cenotaph back past this podium, keeping to the right to avoid blocking wreath layers in the next group, and return to your seats from the opposite side of the row you exited from. There are some exceptions to this. When called, the Lieutenant Governor's representative and the Silver Cross Mother will please each proceed individually to the front of the cenotaph, lay their wreaths in their own time, turn and return directly to their seats. When the Armed Forces units are called, we would request that the Rear Admiral Patchell be centered at the front of the cenotaph, with the additional units flanking him on either side where space permits. Once gathered as a group, please place your wreaths at the same time on my mark. You may then turn to your right, circle around the cenotaph, and return directly to your seats. The laying of wreaths will now commence. On behalf of the Crown and the Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia, retired Saanich Police Deputy Chief Constable Robert Warren, Chief Honorary Aide-de-Camp to Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia. Silver Cross Mother, Mrs. Jane Nuttall. The Memorial Cross, more often referred to as the Silver Cross, was first authorized on December 1st, 1919 as a memento of personal loss and sacrifice on the part of widows and mothers of Canadian sailors, aviators, and soldiers who died for their country during the First World War. Jane and her family represent the mothers and families of British Columbia's Armed Forces members today and are here more specifically in memory of Lieutenant Andrew Richard Nuttall of the 1st PPCLI. Government representatives. For the Government of Canada, the Honourable Will Greaves, Member of Parliament for Victoria. For the Government of British Columbia, the Honourable Grace Lohr on behalf of Premier David Eby. For the City of Victoria, Mayor Marianne Alto. For the City of Port Angeles, Mayor Kate Dexter. For Veterans Affairs Canada, Ms. Bev Martin, Area Director for BC and the North Area. For the British Consulate General, Lieutenant Commander Jamie Frankie Vaughan, Royal Navy. You may now lay your wreaths. Representatives of the Canadian Armed Forces. For Maritime Forces Pacific, Rear Admiral David Patchell, Commander, Maritime Forces Pacific, and Chief Petty Officer First Class Jonathan Sorensen. For the 4th Canadian Rangers Patrol Group Command Team, Lieutenant Colonel V. Couturier, Commanding Officer with Honorary Colonel Adele Donaldson and Quartermaster Sergeant Instructor Master Warrant Officer G. Cutting. For the Canadian Scottish Regiment Princess Mary's, Lieutenant Colonel Slade Lurch, Commanding Officer, and Master Warrant Officer Jesse McLeod, RSM. For the 5th BC Field Artillery Regiment, Major K. Savola, Battery Commander, and Warrant Officer Henry Slack. For the Naval Association of Canada, Vancouver Island, Earl Shirley. You may now lay your wreaths. Representatives of Veterans Organizations, Group 1. For the Royal Canadian Legion BC Yukon Command, Leading Seaman Leo Bossy. For the Royal Canadian Legion Branch No. 7 Britannia, Keith Yao, President. For the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 127 Public Service, Mel Smith, Past President. For the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 292 Trafalgar Pro Patria, Bill Wilson, President. For the Army, Navy, and Air Force Association Unit 12, Donna May, President. For the Korea Veterans Association of Canada Unit 27, Ted 80. You may now place your wreaths. Representatives of Veterans Organizations, Group 2. For the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 292 Ladies Auxiliary, Gail Preston. For Veterans House Victoria, Commander Rod Hughes. For the Métis veterans of British Columbia, Veterans Barbara Hulme and Minister Patrick Harriott. For the veterans of foreign wars, Post 239, Sandy Warner. For Home Children Canada, Brad Child. Over 100,000 British children were sent to Canada between 1869 and 1948. Of those, over 25,000 then went on to serve. This wreath is placed in honor of Brad's grandfather and British home child Arthur Buckmaster and Arthur's son Charles Edward Buckmaster. You may now place your wreaths. Representatives for the Youth of Canada. For War Amps Operation Legacy, Sophie Wood and Ethan Van Toll. For the Army Cadet League of Canada, BC Branch, Cadet Warrant Officer Zara Shamshir Ahmed and Mr. Skip Triplett. For the 89 Pacific Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron, Major Sean Kelly, Commanding Officer, and Cadet Warrant Officer Kian R. Irwin. For the 2nd Camas Scout Group, Max Van Hardenberg. For the BC Yukon Command, winner, National Youth Contest, Vienna Milley and Ellen Milley. For Young NATO UVic, Kaya Dupuis, President. For the 33rd Greater Victoria Medical Scout Group, James Peterson and Una Papineau. You may now place your wreaths. Representatives for peace officers. For the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, District Officer Chief Superintendent Bruce Singer. For the Victoria Police Department, Chief Constable Fiona Wilson, escorted by Sergeant Justin Monroe. For the Canada Border Services Agency, Border Services Officers Tanya Smith and Patrick Riley. For the Canadian Coast Guard, Tyler Brand, Acting Regional Director of Incident Management. You may now lay your wreaths. Representatives of Community and Support Organizations, Group 1. For the Victoria Fire Department, Fire Chief Daniel Atkinson. For the International Association of Firefighters, Local 730, Josh Montgomery, President. For the St. John Ambulance, Nick Hume, Divisional Superintendent. For the Canadian Red Cross, Patrick Quealy, Vice President. For the BC Emergency Health Services, Brad Mitchell, South Island Director, and Bruce Honeyman. For the Salvation Army BC Division, Sipili Molia. For the Commissionaires of Victoria, the Islands and Yukon, Colin Smith and Mark Bressaleur. For the Black History Awareness Society, Barb Hudlin. You may now place your wreaths. Representatives of Community and Support Organizations Group 2. For McCall Gardens Funeral and Cremation Service, Trevor McCall, President. For the BC Coast Pilots, Captain Simon Peterson. For the Nautical Institute of British Columbia, Captain Victor Gronmeyer. For True Patriot Love Foundation, Keith Bridge. For the Royal United Services Institute of Vancouver Island, Lieutenant Commander Paul Saguna. For the BC General Employees Union, Paul Finch, President. For the Canadian Club, Robert Shemmons. You may now place your wreaths. Representatives of benevolent organizations. For the Knights of Columbus Council 1256, Grand Knight Joseph Caven and Raymond Merriman. For the John Howard Society, Manj Tour and Dave Williamson. For the Grand Lodge of BC and Yukon and Britannia Lodge, Most Worshipful Grand Master Kenneth Christofferson. For the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, Anastasia Ziveko, Ambassador for Political Inquiries, and Natalia Vetrachenko, Secretary, UCCVB. For the Sovereign Order of St. John of Jerusalem, Leslie Farrell and Richard Crow. For the Columbia No. 2 Independent Order of Oddfellows, Gerard Ratchford. You may now place your wreaths. The formal laying of wreaths. We would kindly ask that family and friends who wish to lay a wreath for a loved one, please do so following the conclusion of the formal service. Members of the public may also come forward and place their poppies at that time. It is now time to conclude the formal part of our ceremony. Following the singing of God Save the King, there will be a general salute, after which Rear Admiral David Patchell will proceed to the reviewing dais, escorted by Mr. Bob Russell, executive member of the Poppy Fund. The parade contingents will then move off for the march past. Please stand and join in the singing of God Save the King, led today by Petty Officer Second Class Cindy Hotchuk, vocalist for the Naden Band.
God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King.
Who's this, please?
Yeah, we have another med over there. Yo.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our service here at the Cenotaph today. Thank you everyone for attending to remember and honor those who have lived and died in the service of humankind. As you leave here today, you will pass by veterans and serving members in uniform. Please pause to thank them for their service and to remember their sacrifice. I would also like to acknowledge a special thanks for the sentries who stood post throughout the parade. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you.
A beautiful and powerful service at the Cenotaph in Victoria, now coming to a close under sunny skies and a very strong crowd today. I am Paul Haysom, joined by retired Chief Petty Officer John Haggis and retired Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Johnson. Very powerful ceremony. John, we'll start with you. What stood out to you today?
It's that moment of silence.
Yeah.
That prolonged moment of silence when you had a crowd like that and not a sound other than the cannon blast. And then the aircraft coming over top. It was very moving. And the other thing that's standing out to me is what's happening right now is the prolonged applause.
Yeah.
For the serving members and veterans that are marching off.
That's right, and even the cadets, the young cadets marching off.
The cadets is such an important organization.
It really is.
It really is. And so those two things stood out for me, and we were blessed with good weather.
Yeah, blessed with good weather for sure. But I'm thinking that these crowds would have showed up, rain or shine. And I love this moment when people are now putting their poppies down. Lawrence, what stood out to you today?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say, I have nothing to say. John did it so well. He covered all the bases. I mean, there's really nothing more. The crowd, the ceremony itself, it was just fabulous.
Well, then I ask you this, Lawrence, who are you thinking of on this day?
Well, I'll still go back to my father. You know, he served, he was on the Western Front. You know, he said when he was going up to the front, he could see bodies stacked 6 high as far as he could see in the fields beside the road.
Wow.
And he did get injured, wounded. Blimp came over, a dirigible, and dropped a bomb, and he spent 6 months in hospital. But he said he lucked in, it was an American hospital.
Oh.
He was in the Imperial Army, the British Army, but he managed to get an American hospital.
John, I know you do a lot of work with the commissionaires, but you were talking about some of the faces you were thinking of, and you mentioned your father as well, but you're also mentioning 2 people who recently passed.
That's right, and we say in the Navy, cross the bar.
Cross the bar.
And 2 very fantastic Chief Petty Officer First Class. Peter Ford, he's my coxswain in Vancouver, and Chief Petty Officer First Class, and just promoted, or recently promoted to Lieutenant Commander in the cadet organization, Dave Bliss. And they both led with courage and commitment, and had a positive impact that shaped many careers, mine included.
Wow.
And my condolence goes out to their families and to their loved ones.
Yeah. Our condolences to you as well.
Yeah,
I know that.
Well, thank you.
And we speak about that. I mean, we are seeing a lot of familiar faces through the course of that ceremony today. You're saying, oh, there's that person. There's Adele Donaldson who joined us last year. And I was saying, Lawrence, I want to say it's a team, but it's a family, really, isn't it, if you've served?
It is, definitely, no doubt about it. And you really appreciate, the older you get, the more you appreciate it. You know, you don't have to, I walk into a group of veterans, they know me, I know them, they're fellow service people. And even in the various organizations, Red Service Institute, where you get from various services, but you do have a certain camaraderie immediately.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain yourself, who you are. They know who you are.
It's an unspoken bond, I'd imagine, John, yeah.
Well, it is, and you become friends in a certain way, and I said to you off air that some of my shipmates that I feel are my best friends. I've never been to their house, you know. We don't need to share that. It's what happens at sea and what happens when we're away together. We really bond as that family.
Wow. And I do want to close just these final thoughts with, I mentioned it's 25 years since the tomb of the unknown soldier, and that has a very special place in your heart. Do you mind sharing that with us?
Well, I was so fortunate to be chosen to lead the piping of the side party.
Wow.
At the tomb of the unknown soldier.
And this is in the year 2000?
In the year 2000. So I was a petty officer second class, and it's the 3-note side, you know, the high, low, high. And so I was at the sarcophagus for the entombment of the unknown soldier. And pretty much everything that I've ever done in the service, somebody else will do, except that. So that was one of the honors of my career.
Wow. Well, we are so honored to have you both here. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Johnson, retired Chief Petty Officer John Haggis. First and foremost, thank you both for your service, but thank you for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Lawrence, thank you for coming back. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And from all of us here at CHEK, thank you for joining us for today's special Remembrance Day coverage. It truly is an honor for us to bring you this coverage. And to those who have served and continue to serve, thank you. We're going to end the show with Flanders Fields, the beautiful poem from John McCrae, written back in 1915. This version read by Canadian journalist and broadcaster Michael Enright. Thank you for joining us, and lest we forget.
In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
CHEK acknowledges the Lekwungen peoples of the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations and the other Coast Salish, Nuu-Channel, and Kwakwaka'wakw peoples on whose traditional lands we live and work.
We're about to jump into a program already in progress.
So in 2012, when it got to the point where I wanted to initiate this project, I knew from my research that what we'd need was grassroots support. I really wanted the heart of the project to come from residents of Saanich and for them to really drive that. So I turned to Mary Jane Shaw and naturally turned to Ray Travers as well.
I got interested in World War I history in the 1980s mainly because I wanted to visit the battlefields and find out with a greater understanding of what both my grandfathers were experiencing in World War I.
And that formed the basis of the Saanich Remembers World War I Committee. And we were joined by Sidney Allenson, the writer and historian. We had a wonderful First World War honor roll. We decided we would structure the project around that honor roll. It listed 355 names of Saanich men and women who had served in the First World War, some of whom had died. We thought the best way to honor these people would be to individualize them, really tell their personal story. So as a core part of the Saanich Remembers project, we wanted to do biographies on each of those individuals.
And so it led from there. We set up a committee and developed a plan. There were 8 objectives and 6 actions.
Ray Travers and Mary Jane Shaw really then spearheaded the preservation of Memorial Avenue and took it up to the Saanich Council level.
Part of the Memorial Avenue Committee, a number of improvements have already occurred. We've got 8 interpretive panels, the entire length of the street. And we've got what we call medallions, the entire length of Shelburne, from Mount Doug Park down to Bay Street. We've got a commitment to build stone gate posts at each end. Those will be going in this summer. And this is all leading up to the 100th anniversary of the original planting on October 2nd, 2021. And so we've got a very important milestone in the history of the trees.
The Dedication Memorial Drive gave us an opportunity to come together, to intergenerationally reflect on enormous sacrifices that have been made, to consider our own lives, to contemplate how we can make ourselves worthy of the sacrifice. It also gave us a chance to thank Ray Travers and the others he had worked with to